Hey y'all, Papa was smoking with Papa BBQ. And today I'm going to show you how to smoke a Meteorite brisket. Here on Smoking with Papa BBQ. Hey, if you're new to our channel and you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. Ring the bell, that way you know about the next video that we have coming up. And that's the cheap, shameless plug for this one. Looks like we got a visitor in the background. Hey y'all, well, I thought I would actually do this video out in the smoke shack, which sits right next to our pit. Wanted to do this video, how you can make your brisket into a Meteorite brisket. Now, what I'm talking about is the bark and how to get that bark set. Something that we did not or are not going to show you on this particular video is how we started out. Now, I started out at about 11 o'clock last night, actually a little bit earlier, about 10:30, trimming our brisket, getting it ready to go on the pit. Then we cold smoke, and that's what they call it, is cold smoking. We use a bundle fire, meaning we're putting these logs together, keeping the gaps very, very minimal, and that can go on, and we can actually smoke from, well, I put that on at 11 o'clock, and we actually got up at 3:30 this morning. Fire was still good, was coming down. Glad we got up at 3:30, and by 4 o'clock, we set up our log cabin style of a fire, and then we started our regular cook. And then we'll take you through that. But on a cold smoke, we want to keep that between 150, 175. We try to maintain that temperature throughout the evening. Now, the reason being, I like to get some sleep, like to finish my brisket up, or briskets up, earlier in the day. That way we can go ahead and get those wrapped and into the warmer, and then we can finish up with if we're doing ribs or doing pork shoulders or anything else that we're doing, pork belly burn ends, we can get those on the pit, and then they can go, and that pretty much takes my day. I don't have to worry about the brisket, because that's going to sit in the warmer and hold at 140 for about 10 to 14 hours in that warmer. It can actually hold longer than that if you want to. It's up to you. We normally let our briskets hold for about that long, about 10 to 14 hours. Good rule of thumb, however long it took you to smoke your brisket in the pit, if it took you 10 hours, hold it for 10 hours. Good rule of thumb. Anyway, you don't have to do that. You don't have to use a warmer if you don't want to. You can put it in a cooler, wrap it in a towel, and let it sit for a couple hours, and you know what? It's going to taste just as good. But what we're trying to achieve is getting that bark to set, and set quickly after the cold smoke, and then bring it through the stall and get it past the stall. And then we usually take our briskets off at about 195. And we just probed, and it hit 185 dead center. And I'm running at 300 degrees, trying to get the rest of that fat rendered down. We're close, probably about another 30 minutes, and I'll probe again, looking for that 195 temp. At 195, 190, between 195, 198. I don't want to go over 200. We'll take the brisket off, and then we'll wrap it in double tin foil, heavy duty, with a little bit of tallow. Let that sit out room temperature for about an hour. And then it goes in the warmer to hold at 140 for the next 10, 14 hours. Once they can probe dead center, and you can feel and see, get that pillowy feel in that fat and on top. And I probe dead center of the brisket, and if it hits between 195, we don't go over 200. We pull our brisket off. It's been about 30, close to 30 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and probe it again, see what temperature we're at. This is what I was talking about, that pillowy feeling. And I don't know if you can see this fat. Oh yeah. Guys, we're close. We're real close. Go straight in the middle. 197, 96. We're there, folks. Let's take this bad boy off. We wrap them with tallow, and then they sit on our counter for about an hour. We're inside. This is our ice cream scoop. I use 2 of these with our tallow, and then we put our brisket down on top of it and then wrap it up. Wrapping up. We'll just make sure we do our karate chops here. Karate chops here, take out some of that air or all that air. And back again this way. And on this side. And we're going to let this sit right here where it's at for about an hour. Let that temperature come down, let the cooking process stop. And then once that happens, again, we want it good and tight. But once that happens, then we're ready to go into the warmer where it will hold for another 10 to 14 hours. And like I told you before, we can hold this longer if we need to, or, you know, you don't have to hold it that long. It's what we do here at Smoking with Papa BBQ. If you're a backyard cooker and you're serving for your friends or neighbors or family, hey, you can wrap it up, throw a towel around it, and throw it in a cooler and let it sit for an hour or 2 hours, and you're ready to cut into it. Here we seem to get a lot more juicier brisket in doing it that way. That's pretty much how we do it. What we're going to show you is the steps that we do, walking you through. I do it in 2-hour increments. We start out with our cold smoke, and then we move into our first fire, which we did this morning. And we want to hold that between 200 and 225 for 2 hours. Then moving up, we go between 225 and 250, closer to 250 for 2 hours. Then moving up to 275. Now, stopping at 250, once we make that jump from 250 to 275, I'm checking for the stall. Stall for us is about 160 to 165. That's our stall. And what we'll do is I'll go ahead and take tinfoil, and we'll put tinfoil on each end. I'll do a tip, so if we've got anything that's pooling, we go ahead and dump that. We tinfoil, like I said, both ends, and then rotate. So to start out, our fat cap, or our point, goes towards the heat. Our flat stays away from the heat. At the stall, once we put our tinfoil on, then I'll flip those and rotate them, and then we take our flat and we put it towards the heat with our point to where our flat was in the beginning. That gives me a good even cook. And again, folks, if you're cooking on an offset, know your smoker. Know where, I can work my smoker by moving the door open or closed and get my temperatures right. I know how much wood that I need and where to place it. My damper, I don't touch. After, that's another thing. When we do our cold smoke, my damper is about 95% closed. Once we get through the cold smoke and I get up and we start our very first fire, bringing it up to 200, 225, my damper comes open about maybe halfway. It opens up. That way I can get that draw, and then I can maneuver my temperatures by moving my doors. You may have vents on yours, on your offset. You can work it the same way by how much oxygen is actually getting in to your smoker. Anyway, fire management's very, 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 very important. Once we get a good coal base, and we get that with our cold smoke, then after every 2 hours, I take a little bit of that coal, that base out, that coal base, and we get rid of it to start our next coal base. That way, you don't have just this humongous set of coals in your smoker, and it can actually hinder your fire. You say, well, it's hot. Yes, it is. But once it turns to ash, that's what you've got, is ash. We get some of that out, and we do that up to 275. Once I hit 275, and I've taken our coal base out, dumped it, our next stage is 275 for 2 hours, and then we take it after that up to 300. Now I'll let it go for 300 for an hour, for 2 hours, 30 minutes, depending upon where our brisket is. Why do I put it at 300? I want the rest of that fat rendered out. That gives me a good idea, and you're getting, once you start pushing on that brisket, you're going to get that very, very pillowy feel to it. Also, if you'll look to the side and look at your brisket, it's going to be that yellow type fat. You know that fat is rendering out. Guys, follow these steps. If you've got any comments or if you've got any questions, leave them down below. I'll get to them and answer them. I do want to say one thing before we finish up. I want to thank Bar A BBQ and Cooper Abercrombie, because we kind of took their idea, along with Goldie's, we kind of took their ideas and made it our own. You may want to do the same thing. Start it out this way. Go and see what Bar A does, what Goldie's does, what Smoking with Papa's does, and you may want to do it your way, a different way. And you know what? Your way may be better. Or it may be the same and you're getting the same results, but this is better or that's better. Leave us a comment down below and tell us about it. Hey, you know, we had mentioned Bar A BBQ in Montgomery, Texas, with Cooper Abercrombie as the owner and operator, pit master, do everything, wash dishes. Well, I think his dad washes dishes. Guys, if you're ever near the Houston area, Montgomery, Texas, we invite you to stop into Bar A BBQ, Texas Monthly's #1 barbecue spot, and try out their barbecue. We have not tried it. I look forward to doing it. We do follow some of their recipes, some of Cooper's recipes, and man, I got to tell you, Smoking with Papa makes some good barbecue, and if Bar A is half as good as what our barbecue is, it's going to be mighty tasty. So if you're on the road, stop in, see Cooper, tell him Smoking with Papa says hi, and let him know that you saw his advertisement, his cheap, shameless plug right here on Smoking with Papa Barbecue. Hey, if you're ever in town and near the Springtown area, Dallas, Fort Worth, Weatherford, swing by. We are open at our property here the second and last Fridays of the month. We invite you to come on by and try some of this juicy brisket. We normally have ribs or pork belly burn-in. Sometimes we have pulled pork, but I promise you it will be like no other barbecue experience that you've ever had. So come on by, Smoking with Papa Barbecue, 100 Ash Creek Court, Springtown, Texas, second And last Fridays of the month, we open up at 5 o'clock and we close it down at 8 or until sellout. Sometimes sellout comes within an hour or two. So just depends on how many folks we have stopping by. Hopefully we'll see you stopping by real soon. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it. Do me a favor. If you haven't subscribed, man, we need some subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. Be on the lookout for the next recipe or tip coming your way. We enjoy doing them, and I'm not here to hide any secrets. If it wasn't for folks in the barbecue industry telling what they know, man, some of our stuff wouldn't be as good as what it is. Always remember, you don't have to follow along in our recipe. Make it your own, make it better, make it barbecue. Whatever you do, get out, get your smoker. Doesn't matter if it's a pellet smoker or an offset or whatever you use, get out there and get to smoking. Thanks. We'll see you next time.